Tonight, there's something different in the air. It's as if the sky is holding a secret, one that only those who are truly awake can feel. Do you see it? That moon brighter, closer, almost as if it's looking straight into your heart. Everything around you seems the same, and yet, your soul knows something is about to change forever. This isn't just another full moon. This is the sacred portal that Aries opens, where light meets fire, and humanity is summoned to cross into a new era of truth and of courage. And if lately you felt restless, sleepless, or heard a quiet whisper calling from deep within, stay, because what's coming next will not only change the way you see the world, it will change the way you see yourself. Now, take a breath, let your heart open, and allow me to guide you through the first gateway of this night. The portal opens when heaven meets fire. The night sky feels alive tonight, not breathing through the wind, but through the slow, steady heartbeat of the universe itself. Those who are still enough can feel it, a subtle yet powerful current of energy flowing gently down to earth. The Aries moon burns bright and bold, opening a doorway that not everyone can see. It isn't made of wood or light. It's an invisible gate within the soul, a meeting point between the seen and the unseen, where you come face to face with the deepest part of who you are. Many have been feeling something unusual, a quiet restlessness, a faster heartbeat when you look up at the sky, or nights spent awake for no clear reason. Some say they feel pressure on their shoulders, others a warmth in the palms of their hands, but this is not exhaustion. It's your spirit syncing with a new frequency of light. When the universe shifts, our bodies, the vessels of spirit, vibrate to match its rhythm. In these sacred hours, pause for a moment and listen within. You might sense a silent call, an invitation to something greater, a new chapter unfolding. The Aries full moon doesn't arrive to teach you how to wait for miracles. It comes to remind you that you are the miracle. The universe rarely changes us with soft words. It moves through tremors, through awakening strong enough to shake us out of comfort and illusion. Every sleepless night, every nameless worry is not a punishment. It's the alarm clock of the soul, reminding you that you are still alive, still evolving. As moonlight spills across the earth, it doesn't only illuminate the roads outside, it shines on the roads within, the ones you lost track of because of fear, fatigue, or the long years you spent avoiding your own reflection. I've always believed there are moments in life that don't need to be explained, only felt. And tonight is one of them. Close your eyes, place your hand over your heart. Listen, every beat is a message from the divine, a gentle whisper saying, "You're not falling apart, you're being called to rise." If you've been feeling this wave of energy too, share your story, because somewhere among thousands listening now, someone is walking the same path, and your words could be the light that guides them home. The Aries moon is opening a rare moment, a meeting between heaven and the human heart. And when that light touches you, it won't just illuminate the world around you. It will begin to reveal something deeper, the truth that has always lived within you. Tonight, the moon isn't just full, it's burning. Its light carries a different breath, not soft, not tender as usual, but fierce, alive, ancient. Beneath this sky, there's a call, rising for the souls that have fallen asleep in obedience, for those who have worn the same masks for too long just to fit the script life handed them. It's the call of Aries, the warrior's moon, the moon of the spiritual warrior. They say Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, the initiator, the one who begins the journey. But what few ever say is this: to begin, you must first have the courage to leave something behind. And right now, that Aries fire is touching the deepest corner of your heart, the place where, even in silence, a small flame has never gone out. That flame isn't meant to burn the world down. It's meant to warm your own soul again, after all the years you've spent trying to be who others wanted you to be. So many of us have been silent for too long. We've learned to smile when we're not happy, to say yes when every cell inside us wanted to say no. We've accepted things that made our hearts shrink, just to hold onto a fragile piece, or a relationship that only looked safe on the surface. But Aries won't allow that anymore. The full moon in Aries is like a mirror. It reflects every disguise we've ever worn, It doesn't judge. It simply asks softly but unavoidably, are you living your truth? This isn't the energy of rebellion. It's the energy of sacred honesty, the kind that can hurt but can also save you, because pretending never brings peace. Only truth, raw and unpolished, lets the soul breathe again. When you choose to live honestly, you're not breaking harmony. You're ending the illusion that's been hiding beneath it. I've met many quiet warriors, people who carry the wounds of kindness. They say, I'm fine, yet their eyes hold an ocean no one has ever seen. And I've realized the greatest courage isn't always found in the battle, but in allowing yourself to simply be who you are. Aries teaches that lesson, that the universe doesn't reward perfection, it rewards truth. Think about this. If tonight you stripped away every role the world gave you, the good child, the perfect partner, the unshakable one, what would remain? If that answer makes you tremble, congratulations, you're touching truth, and only truth can set you free. Sometimes the bravest journey isn't climbing a mountain, it's coming home to yourself. It's a battle with no weapons, only long nights, tears, and silence. Aries understands that. The warrior's moon doesn't ask you to be strong for the world. It only asks that you stop betraying your own soul. If tonight you feel an urge to speak what's been buried, let it rise. If you're standing between two paths, listen to the one that makes your heart race. And if your hands are trembling, know this, you are not alone. Thousands of souls are walking through this same doorway of truth beside you. When courage awakens, everything around you begins to shift. The moon is no longer just something hanging above you. It becomes a companion, a gentle light guiding each step on your way back home to yourself. And once the heart awakens to truth, something beautiful begins to stir. The mind starts to move too. It no longer wants surface answers. It wants to see what lies beneath, to dive into the hidden depths behind the masks of this world. From here, another journey begins, where the mind descends into the shadows, and light no longer comes only from above, but from deep within you. When Mercury enters the deep waters of Scorpio, the world grows quieter, not because people have stopped speaking, but because every word now carries a different weight. It's as if each sentence is written in both light and shadow at the same time. Those who are sensitive can feel it. Something in the air has shifted. Conversations feel slower, heavier, more real. Every glance, every sigh seems to hold a hidden meaning you might have missed before. This is the time when the mind no longer drifts on the surface. It dives deep, like the waters of Scorpio, where light is hard to reach. But once it does, it illuminates everything. When Mercury, the planet of thought and language, moves through this sign, it turns every idea into a mirror to see others clearly, and a mirror that reflects you back to yourself. And sometimes what you see there isn't always easy to face. I believe some truths don't need to be spoken aloud, because the soul already knows them. We call it intuition, but in truth, it's the quiet whisper of an awakened consciousness. When you truly listen to someone, you don't listen with your ears, you listen with your heart. That sacred space always knows what hasn't been said. And right now, that ability is stronger than ever. You begin to read between the lines, to sense emotion hiding behind a smile, or silence that speaks louder than words. But this energy doesn't stop at awareness. It gives you something far more powerful, the strength of your voice. Every word you speak under this influence carries Scorpio's depth, insightful, piercing, and capable of touching another soul. Words now are like sacred blades. They can cut through fear, or wound deeply if used without care. So speak slowly. Let every word pass through your heart before it reaches your lips. Mercury in Scorpio doesn't ask you to talk more. It asks you to speak truth. Because truth in this season doesn't just free you, it frees everyone bound by the silence around you. When you dare to say something honest, you open a space for healing for both the speaker and the listener. I've seen people rebuild their lives with nothing but words. A single apology can end a war inside the mind. A simple, "I understand you," can heal years of distance. And one honest confession can pull a soul back from the edge of loneliness. Never underestimate the power of what you say. Words are not just sound, they are energy. They carry light or shadow depending on the heart that sends them. If you find yourself speaking less lately, don't worry. That silence isn't emptiness, it's the stillness of someone listening with their spirit. And if you feel the urge to finally speak a truth you've hidden, trust it. That's not weakness. That's your soul asking to be free. Every sound you make travels far, through air, through energy, through hearts, leaving traces in the unseen world around you. So let your words become sacred tools, used to release, not to harm. In this moment, every conversation has the potential to become a ritual of healing. A glance, a breath, a single sentence at the right time can open a doorway to truth you've never touched before. And when that truth begins to rise, whether in your mind, your dreams, or the quiet spaces between conversations, the universe won't let it stay hidden. Because once something has been seen, it can never return to the dark. And soon, you'll realize that what's awakening inside you can no longer remain silent. The sky itself will call for something stronger, a confrontation, not to destroy, but to set you free. There are moments in life when the universe stops speaking softly. It no longer whispers through the wind or sends gentle signs. It looks you straight in the eye and says, "It's time." The moment Mercury forms a square with Pluto is one of those times. It's when truth meets power, and no one can hide. This energy isn't gentle. It's like an undercurrent pulling you away from the shore of comfort, forcing you to face the things you've avoided for far too long. Relationships, agreements, roles that once felt stable, suddenly feel too small. Everything that was hidden, manipulative, or quietly diminishing you is being pushed to the surface, raw and undeniable. This isn't a battle outside of you, it's a confrontation within. When Mercury, planet of thought, speech, and awareness, is challenged by Pluto, your entire belief system begins to tremble. What once felt fine no longer feels fine. What you once stayed silent about just to keep the peace now becomes unbearable. You can feel it, a pressure building in your chest, as if your soul is demanding to be freed from the cage it's been living in. I've always believed every crisis carries its own wisdom. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to release you from where you no longer belong. But to do that, the universe must stir the shadows, must push you to the edge. Truth doesn't always arrive as gentle light. Sometimes it strikes like lightning, shattering illusions, and in doing so, reveals the real path beneath the rubble. Look around you. Is there someone trying to control you, making you doubt your own perception? Are there places where you're stuck, bound by fear, guilt, or the habit of being the easy one? Mercury square Pluto will not allow that anymore. It exposes every power game, every half-truth, every subtle manipulation you once called normal. But remember, this confrontation doesn't just happen out there. It's happening inside you too, between the part of you that wants to stay quiet and the part that aches to be free, between the self that wants to be loved and the self that refuses to live a lie. Both deserve to be seen, because only when you face them can you find peace between them. You may notice people reacting strongly when truth surfaces. They might deny, lash out, or punish you with silence. But that's not failure, it's proof that light has reached a place where darkness didn't want to leave. Stand firm. Sometimes the truth breaks your heart, but the cracks are exactly where the light gets in. I've seen people walk through this transit, people who seem to crumble, only to rise stronger than ever. They stopped trying to please the world. They spoke what needed to be said. They left what needed to end. And they found peace, not in false calm, but in deep, radical honesty with themselves. If lately someone has shown their true face, or you've begun to see something that used to be unclear, let that experience become a mirror for your soul. Ask yourself, what is this truth teaching me? Am I using it to heal or to hurt? Because truth, when spoken with love, heals both sides, but truth spoken in anger only builds new walls. This is the wisdom Mercury and Pluto want you to remember. When you speak the truth, you don't just free yourself, you give others the courage to do the same. And sometimes it takes only one honest soul for hundreds more to find their voice. So don't fear the collapse. It's falling apart now is simply what can no longer bear the weight of truth. Trust that after every breakdown, a stronger foundation will rise, one built on freedom and clarity. And when the last mask finally falls, your body will begin to react, because the soul doesn't just think, it feels. What the mind awakens to, the body must release. From this moment on, healing won't happen in thought alone. It will flow into every cell, every breath, every heartbeat. Sometimes a soul's awakening doesn't happen in peaceful meditations or gentle dreams. It happens in the middle of the night. When you wake up at 3:33 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering why you're awake in such perfect silence. It happens on the days your body feels heavy, your shoulders ache, your heartbeat races, your palms burn with heat. You think you're tired, but in truth, you're being recalibrated to carry more light. The universe speaks to us in the most delicate ways, and the body is its first instrument of communication. In Buddhist philosophy, the body and the mind are never separate. When the mind shifts, the body vibrates in response. When the soul rises to a higher frequency, the body must learn to hold more light, more energy. And sometimes that learning is not easy. Think of what happens when you walk out of a dark room and face the sun. In that first moment, the light blinds you. You squint, close your eyes, and need a few seconds to adjust. The soul works the same way. When an energetic doorway opens, your body needs time to adapt to the brightness. The aches, the pressure, the quickened breath, they're not signs of weakness, but signals that you're tuning to a higher vibration. I know there are days when everything feels too loud, the world's noise, the crowds. Even a voice on the phone can feel like too much. But this doesn't mean you're breaking down. It means you're becoming more sensitive, like an instrument being finely retuned, to match the subtle harmonies of your spirit. So instead of fear, offer gratitude to your body. It hasn't betrayed you. It's loyal to your evolution. Listen to its messages like you would a wise friend. When it asks for rest, give it stillness. When it craves nature, let it touch the earth and breathe deeply. And when it trembles, place your hand over your heart and whisper, "I am safe. I am becoming light." Because you're not falling apart, you're being reborn in light. Every wave of fatigue is a sign your soul is growing stronger. Every breath, every drop of sweat is part of a sacred purification. And when those vibrations settle, you'll feel a strange, peaceful calm, as if a part of you has just awakened. After a long, deep sleep, once you surrender to these changes, time itself begins to behave differently. Moments stretch into hours, hours dissolve into seconds. You start to feel time through the pulse of the cosmos, not the ticking of a clock. And that's the sign you're deeply connected now to everything that lives and breathes around you. Don't be surprised if you feel quieter, more withdrawn, less eager to speak. When the soul transforms, it seeks silence. It doesn't need noise to prove it exists. It just needs space to expand. Let that stillness become your prayer. Let each inhale draw light into you, and each exhale release the old. You may not realize it yet, but in the moments when you feel most fragile, you are in truth the strongest. Only souls brave enough to evolve can pass through this kind of awakening. And when the wave of energy finally moves through you, you'll find yourself changed, lighter, brighter, more at peace. If lately you've felt these shifts, the strange vibrations in your body, the sleepless nights, the emotions without names, share them. You are not alone. Thousands of souls are walking this same path beside you. Tell your story. Let others know they too are not alone on this journey back into the light. And as your body begins to adjust, as light becomes part of your very blood, you'll notice the transformation doesn't stop within you. It begins to ripple outward, touching your relationships, your connections, your world. Because when one soul rises, the universe around it begins to rise too. Quietly, gently, like a miracle blooming, in the middle of ordinary life, across the night sky as the Aries moon reaches its full brilliance. Its fiery light reflects upon the sun in Libra, the sign of balance, of we. And between these two poles, an unspoken but profound conversation unfolds. Between I and we, between the longing to be fully oneself, and the fear of losing love by doing so. The energy of this Aries full moon doesn't ask who you love, it asks, do you love yourself within that love? Because somewhere along the journey, many of us have traded too much away. We've made ourselves smaller to fit into someone else's heart. We've dimmed our light so no one would be blinded by it. We've silenced our truth just to keep a fragile peace. But the Aries moon no longer allows that silence. Aries teaches that real love doesn't require self-sacrifice. It asks for honest presence. A healthy relationship doesn't make you shrink. It helps you grow side by side. When you truly love someone, you don't dissolve into them. You stand beside them like two flames burning brightly together, lighting the way ahead without dimming each other's glow. I've seen people fall deeply in love, only to lose themselves within that love. They called it sacrifice, but beneath it was fear of losing connection. And I've also seen people rediscover themselves and find that love was still there, calmer now, wiser, more real. Aries and Libra remind us, love is not possession, it is permission. The permission to be yourself and to allow the other to be themselves too. Under the Aries moon, you might feel that tug, the pull between asserting yourself and keeping harmony with another. But that tension isn't imbalance, it's growth. The moment you ask, who am I in this relationship? Your soul has already begun to awaken. Think about the people around you. Who makes you feel seen, celebrated, alive? Who can you speak your truth to without fear? Those are your kindred spirits, souls that don't try to change you, but help you rise higher into who you already are. And if some connections leave you drained, know that stepping back isn't selfish, it's sacred respect for both energies involved. Aries teaches that courage in love is not about staying at all costs, it's about walking away when your soul can no longer breathe. Libra reminds us that love isn't ownership, it's freedom. And when these two lessons meet, we understand that to love is not to lose ourselves, but to expand beyond who we were before. Someone once said to me, real love doesn't ask you to shrink, it asks you to grow. And it's true. Love demands growth, awareness, and compassion. It's not just emotion, it's a spiritual practice, a journey of awakening the heart and elevating the soul. It teaches us to love not only with passion, but with wisdom, kindness, and truth. If you're hearing this now, pause for a moment. Think of the person who makes you feel free just by being near them, who truly celebrates your fire instead of dimming it. Tell them, or simply send them a silent thank you, because once we honor the sacredness of real connection, every bond in our life begins to transform. And in that flow, something miraculous happens. When honesty of mind meets love of heart, a great cleansing begins. It's no longer just emotional change or new insight. It's transformation at the core. Everything old begins to dissolve, making space for a higher frequency to rise from deep within your soul. There are days when you can't quite name what you're feeling. Your heart feels heavy. Tears fall for no reason you can explain. Some nights you lie awake, mind spinning through memories and fears. Everything familiar, the habits, the relationships, the beliefs that once held you, suddenly feels foreign, as if you're living inside a skin that no longer belongs to you. This isn't loss, it's purification. This is the Great Purge, the sacred process where the universe walks you through fire, burning away what no longer fits, so your soul can become lighter, clearer, truer. If you've been crying without knowing why, remember those are the tears of healing. If someone has left your life, don't hold on. Their soul has simply completed its role in that chapter of your journey. And if you feel empty, that's not the end. It's space being cleared, so that new light can enter. I've always believed that whenever you lose something, the universe isn't taking from you, it's returning you to yourself. You haven't lost that person, that job, that old dream. You're reclaiming the parts of your spirit you gave away trying to keep them. And once you dare to let go, the energy of truth begins to flow through you again, pure, like fresh water breaking through the stone. Truth never destroys the soul. It only dissolves what was false, the masks, the fears, the layers of pretense. When those layers fall away, you'll see that your spirit was always there, whole, radiant, unbroken. You may feel lonely at first, but don't mistake loneliness for freedom. Loneliness seeks someone to fill the void. Freedom realizes the void itself is where you meet the universe. And one morning, you'll wake to a world that feels different. Nothing outside has changed, but something inside you has. The voice in your head questions less. Your heart beats calmer. You stop waiting for signs because now you are the sign. This is the time for the brave ones, the souls unafraid to fall apart because they know they are being reborn. Those who understand that change doesn't come to take, it comes to return what was always yours: truth, freedom, and light. Look back for a moment. You've survived pain that once felt impossible. You've spoken truths that once scared you. You've let go when it hurt the most. You've learned to love yourself quietly, even when no one was cheering. That not perfection is what makes you extraordinary. If these words touch something inside you, let your heart respond. Write the words, "I choose truth, I walk through the portal." It's more than a statement, it's a sacred act. A moment of alignment between your soul and the universe, declaring that you are ready to live honestly, to shine fully. The portal is closing now, and with it all illusions will fade away. But you, the new you, are being born. A soul that has walked through darkness and learned how to stand in the light, not to hide, but to illuminate. Thank you, beautiful souls, for walking this path with courage and heart. May this Aries full moon bless you, with strength, with clarity, and with peace on the road ahead.